Gaza is currently facing a lethal ultimatum. Surrender your weapons or you will face death and starvation. While this ultimatum is presented as part of a peace plan, disarmament is actually a national suicide. The United States of America and Israel are explicitly demanding the disarmament of the Palestinian resistance as a prerequisite for the reconstruction of Gaza. Because of that, Palestinians are facing a choice between the biological survival of their society, like access to food, water, and shelter, or the survival of the Palestinian national cause. But here, we must understand the material reality. For a colonized people, agreeing to disarmament is an act of national suicide. Disarmament is presented as a reasonable price to end the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. To understand why they demand Gaza weapons, we have to understand the nature of the Zionist settler colonial project. In reality, settler colonialism is structurally a zero-sum game. It follows the European models and legacies of the United States of America and even Australia, that there is only space for one people and one state. And as follows, the goal isn't just to occupy the land, it is to eliminate the native and replace them with European colonizers. And this elimination process happens on two levels: the physical removal of the native bodies and the spiritual severance of their connection to the soil. This process truly began in 1948 with the destruction of more than 500 towns. And it continues today in the process of the Judaization of Jerusalem. But if the resistance disarms, it grants the colonizers total authority to manage their history, their identity, and their very existence without any material consequences. Gaza weapons are so dangerous to Israel and the US because they represent a friction. Israel dreams of a cost-free colonization. Israel also would like to manage the indigenous people as biological subjects rather than political ones. They want to manage their death through non-spectacle means like calorie-counted diets, restricted movements, and administrative erasure, instead of dropping bombs at them. But when the native is disarmed, colonization becomes an administrative process. It becomes a bureaucracy of death, where the colonizer can expand settlements and steal land without ever facing any material cost. There's a deeper layer to this militarization campaign: the moral and the psychological displacement of Palestinians. The horrors of the genocide in Gaza are intentional, similar to those horrors in Deir Yassin massacre in 1948. They're designed to make the cost of resistance so unimaginably high that the native begins to believe that carrying a weapon or even harboring the spirit of defiance is the direct cause of their own devastation. The colonizer wants you to blame the resistance for the hunger of their children, because the ultimate goal of counterinsurgency is to eliminate the popular infrastructure for the resistance by breaking the spirit that animates it. But Gaza has shattered this myth. It proved that even after 75 years, the native remains a political agent and not just body to be fed. Although Gaza is faced with a brutal choice between basic human needs and keeping their weapons, the reality is that both options lead to subjugation or death under the current structure. Disarmament is not just a decision to stop resistance. It's an erasure of our own claim to the land. It is a complete surrender to the fate that is drawn by settler colonialism. In the story of the Palestinian refugees, Ghassan Kanafani's men in the sun, they suffocated silently in a tanker because they were too afraid to bang on the walls. They died in silence because they chose safety over friction of noise. Today, the choice remains the same. Either we continue knocking on the walls until we achieve liberation, or we die a silent administrative death.